Hi, di, ya, di, 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 li, li, ya, li, 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 li. Hi, di, 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 ya, di, ya, li, li, di, ya, li, li. Hi, di, di, ya, li, 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 di, ya, 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 di, 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 di. Hi, di, 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 ya, di, ya, li, li, li. We gather on this evening as we go to close off Shabbat, and this is the last Shabbat of the year. And so we stand in this moment of not just saying goodbye to Shabbat, but we are ready to close off, or soon to close off, this entire year. And the symbols of Havdalah are there for us each week, and somehow they have extra meaning on this Shabbat, not just because we have our guests and friends from Israel who are visiting, but because we are looking back over this year. And so I invite you to think about those symbols when you think about the wine. That wine represents that which is holy, the relationship that we have with each other and with God. God is the one who makes the grapes, we make the wine. And so together, that's what holiness is. It's partnership. And the spices are there to remind us of the soul, the spirit that God breathes inside of us, and the double portion that we have on Shabbat, for us to hold on to that which has given us uplift and those things that have indeed been challenged over the year, where our soul has been stricken. And so too, when we look at the multi-wicked candle, to think of all the different threads, the people, the moments, the events that come together to make the Orach Chaim, to give the light of life, and give us the strength to carry on. Hi, di, ni, 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 li, 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 li. Hi, di, ni, ni, di, la, la, la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haol. Borei pri hagafen. Borei pri hagafen. Borei pri hagafen. Hi, di, di, ya, na, na, li, li, ya, na, na, li, li. Hi, di, 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 ya, na, ya, la, la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haol. Borei minei v'samim. Borei minei v'samim. Borei minei v'samim. Hi, li, li, ya, ni, 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 ya, li, ni, 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 ni. Hi, di, di, I, li, na, da, hi, di, ya, la, la. Hi, li, li, ya, ni, 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 ya, li, ya, da, 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 da. Hi, ni, ni, hi, li, hi, li, li, ya, la, la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech. Borei meorei ha'esh. Borei meorei ha'esh. Borei meorei ha'esh. Hai, nai, nai, ya, la, la, la. Hai, ya, da, 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 da. I, nai, 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 ya, la, ya, la, la. Ya, nai, nai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol, ben or lechoshech. Ben Yisrael Amim, Ben Yom Hashvihi, L'Sheshet Yomei HaMaaseh. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamavdil ben Kodesh lechol. Hamavdil ben Kodesh lechol, Chatotenu yimchol. Zar'enu v'chaspenu yarbe kachol, v'chachochavim b'layla. Shavua tov, 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 Shavua Tov. We invoke the name of Elijah the prophet, the one who's to be the herald, who can bring about a messianic era, and yet we are the ones who are the partners with one another to please God, bring about that day when Elijah can walk through our doors and into this world. May this week bring us that much closer. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Atishbi, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimhera Beyamenu, Yahavo Elenu, Imashiach ben David, Imashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Atishbi, Eliyahu Hagiladi. Shavua Tov.
Somewhere along the line I learned that as you extinguish the Havdalah candle, which is the only Jewish candle we actually extinguished, the others we let go out, that somehow I was taught that God hears that prayer a little better, which is actually doesn't make sense because God's God, so what does it mean that God could hear a prayer better? That's actually silly. But that's what the little girl Amy learned a long time ago. And so always when I make Havdalah, I take a moment and I close my eyes and I think about a special prayer. And this week it feels that much bigger because it's not just a prayer for the week, it's a prayer for the year. So I invite all of you to take a deep breath, close your eyes. Offer your prayer. Amen. Yehi Ratzon. Please be seated. So if you have a cell phone, can I please remind you to turn it off before we start our program? I know that all of us came this evening because we have this deep desire to stand in solidarity with our guests from Israel and with all the citizens of the state of Israel. And it's actually really important. All of us want you to know you're not alone. And for those people who are joining us on live stream, I know that they're with us in spirit. And our program this evening is sponsored by many generous donors: the Jewish Federation of Western Mass, Susan and Bill Firestone, Susan Mark Goldman, Sue and Ed Klein, Iris and Mark Linson, Larry Starr, and Diane Trotterman. I'm grateful to you for supporting our efforts for rich communal programming. Our guests this evening actually need no introduction, though their individual stories need to be heard. Their own experiences on October 7th, their unique relationship with Kfar Aza, their own vision for how to face the future. Shani, Rachel, Oded, and Imri come to us this evening as a group of Israelis to visit with our community. We find common and solid ground as fellow Jews and fellow Zionists, but our realities are very different, vastly different actually, particularly in light of October 7th. And yet, you're coming tonight, that is, you're coming tonight, along with Shani, Rachel, Oded, Imri, and Eti, who is the organizer of the group, not from Kfar Aza, but the one who made it happen in terms of our connection. All of your being here tonight gives us a chance to grow to remember together and to remember our interconnectedness. This morning in Shul, we read several famous verses of Torah. Moses, speaking to the Israelites, said two things that frame our conversation. The first verse that spoke to me was when the text says, "Surely this instruction which I enjoin upon you this day is not too baffling for you, nor is it beyond reach. It's not in the heavens, The Hebrew text is Lo b'shamayim hi. The rabbis look at that verse, it's not in the heavens, Lo b'shamayim hi, and they actually understand that it's our responsibility to interpret Torah. There's a famous Talmudic passage which focuses on the message, and at another time I could teach that. But for this evening, I want to say I take that message, Lo b'shamayim here, Lo b'shamayim hi, and I take it in a different direction. It's been incredible to watch the resilience and the perseverance of Israelis as they determine to ensure that our people's homeland will remain strong. Our guests embody that dedication, that spirit of Israeli society. The purpose of their talk is for us to reflect on how they've lived into the phrase, Lo b'shamayim hi, it isn't in the heavens. Rather, aleinu, rather it's on us. You all are doing the hard work, but we're holding you. If you imagine yourselves doing the work, imagine this community and communities like ours all over the United States and all over the world standing around and supporting you as you do the hard work of fighting for the survival of the state of Israel and of our homeland and of your kibbutz in your home. The second piece of this morning's Torah reading that I just wanted to share, Moses says, I call on heaven and earth to witness against you this day. I put before you life or death, a blessing and a curse. Choose life. If you and your offspring would live by loving the Lord your God, heeding God's teachings and holding fast to God, for thereby you shall have the life and shall long endure upon the soil that the Lord swore to your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Our guests have chosen life. They are thinking about the future of their beloved home, Kfar Aza. They are turning to us to share their vision, and I am hoping that we will walk down the path with them, choosing to hold, love, support, and build Israel, thereby choosing life. Please join me in welcoming Odette Ettinger, Rachel Steinman, Imri Horwitz, Shani Kaner, and Etty Levy.
Hi, everyone. I want to start by saying thank you all for coming here and thank you for creating this opportunity to come and share the stories of what happened on October 7th. This means a lot, and this is part of creating this connection or reviving this connection between us in Israel and you here. My name is Etty. I've joined the efforts to support and help Kfar Aza 2.5 months after the October 7th, the war started. And I've been with the community ever since. I'm part of the Kfar Aza Foundation. The foundation was established the day of October 7th by former kibbutz members and friends who realized instantly what's going on and what needs to be done in order to support the community at the short term as well as the long term. Kfar Aza was established, the kibbutz was established back in 1957, 2.5 kilometers from the Gaza Strip. So when you stand by the fence, you can actually see the Gaza Strip. You can actually hear the sounds, smell. And when you take your morning walk, you can see the views. Despite of numerous rocket attacks, the community of Kfar Aza enjoyed a very livelihood, very vibrant community lives. It enjoyed financial resilience due to the kibbutz factory named Kafrit. Rachel is actually works for the factory. The kibbutz also had various agricultural branches, 120 small and large businesses. As mentioned, the kibbutz was pretty vibrant, meaning celebrating high holidays together, the large Passover dinner, the Purim show, every Purim. There was the kite festival that I hope you've heard of, since it was an annual event when the community got together for a workshop to create their kites and add words of encouragement and peace. And when they fly the kites, the message was, we believe in a joint future, we believe in peace, we believe in us as people, as well as there were other events as well, and it was really an advantage to live in the kibbutz. So on October 6th, there was a list of more than 200 families hoping to be accepted to the kibbutz, waiting on a waiting list. On the morning of October 7th, there were 940 residents in the kibbutz. 233 out of them were children and 135 elders. They were all in their homes. And on that morning, that wasn't an alarm of any kind, right? And so on the morning of October 7th, they were all running into shelter, into the safe room in their homes, while hundreds of terrorists invaded the kibbutz, infiltrated the houses, and came to murder, to kill, to rape, and to do whatever they could in order to just ruin everything that was there. It took almost 41 hours for the residents to be evacuated from the kibbutz to a different location in Israel. And so the residents were evacuated under fire with nothing but what they had on. They were evacuated to Kibbutz Shfaim, which is located in the center of Israel. And the majority of the community is still there at this point. With us today, Rochale, Rachel, Shani Kaner, Oded, and Imri, who's going to share their personal stories as well as future plans at this point on. So I'll start by asking you, what was Kfar Aza for you? And if you could start by telling a few words about yourself.
One, two. Okay, my name is Imri Horowitz. I was born and raised in Kfar Aza. I'm a carpenter. My workshop is nearby Kfar Aza in Kibbutz Mefalsim, that is also very close to Gaza. I'm very, very excited to be here. And because of that, maybe I will be confused, so apologize me. My parents established Kfar Aza. They came in the late 50s, and I think I had the best childhood ever. Okay, we grew up together. All the children, we grew up together as a small community, and they became like brothers and sisters, because it's very small, and we do everything together. We work together, we did the holidays together, and until nowadays, even if I meet someone that I grew up with him or somewhere after decades, they're still like brother and sister. It's a very strong connection. And life in Kfar Aza is part of to live at nature. There's lots of fields surrounded Kfar Aza. It's very pastoralic. All the time Gaza is on the view, but it was very quiet on the 80s when I grew up. In the 90s, even my father took his scooter to fix down in Gaza in the 80s. and he put the scooter in the garage, and he went to the market of Gaza to eat hummus and falafel. And that was the atmosphere in Kfar that we grew up. And then in the year 2000, the second Intifada has started, and they just started to throw missiles on us. And we didn't have safe rooms like today, and we didn't have many shelters surrounded. Then after a couple of years, Israel built us, the government built us every house, they built us a safe room and shelters all over the kibbutz. So when it was a rocket, there was alert, and you have 15 seconds to run to a shelter, and 15 seconds is nothing. Sometimes there was alert and the missile already fell down. And that was the atmosphere since 20 years ago, we feeling this is the atmosphere that we're feeling. There's more or less until October, very, very quiet and peaceful. But like there is escalation twice a year, that many rockets have been shooting on us, and we needed to go out, to run away from kibbutz to other places in Israel. And I have to admit that for me it was quite a fun, because it was a forced vacation. We took all the family, we went to the north of Israel for a week, let's say, or maybe a week and a half. And then when things went quiet, so we went back to kibbutz. And the craziest thing that after a day, we went back to work like nothing happened. The kids went back to school, and just going through life like a routine. But since then, like we are all traumatized, even before the 7th. If you shut down a door next to me or next to my children, we will jump. So. And we usually say life in Kfar Aza, it's 99% heaven, 95, 94?
5.
Okay, okay. For me, for me it's 97. Let's go to average. And 3% is hell because of that. Of course, then comes the 7th of October.
So I'm Rachel, and for me, Kfar Aza is home, just home. You just realize it when you have to, in this part of of our time, that we were evacuated and we were without any home. And then when I come back every day, it's like coming back home. I come to the kibbutz every morning, and I drive usually with my windows closed due to the air condition. But when I enter the entrance of the kibbutz, I open the window just to smell the air there, and it feels like home. And I really didn't realize it because you get used to it. You get up in the morning, you do the duties of every day, and only when you are outside and you are not with your community and you're not in your house, not in your couch, not in your garden, you realize it's home. And it was something that it stuck me. I mean, I was not used to something like this. I go there, 3 kids. None of them is living in the kibbutz and will return to the kibbutz. And again, it's because of the situation. They said, it's a nice place. It's a gorgeous place. We love being here. It's like, for them, it's a nice place, and they have friends there and everything. And my grandchildren like to be there, swimming pool, and the tractors. I have one that he says all the time, Kfar Aza equal tractors, and I like to be there. But none of them will come due to the situation with Gaza, which unfortunately I don't think it will change a little more to something different. But it's really a home for me.
Thank you. Shani and Oded, if you could share where were you on October 7th and what helped you go through that day till you were evacuated?
Okay. Hi, I'm Oded. I'm 60 this year, and I'm a social worker. I work with old people, or it's not a nice word. Uh, Senior citizens. Yeah, that's my job. And I had a job in the kibbutz. I was in charge of all the people with special needs. That's what it was another job that I held in Kfar Aza. And I want to say, Amy talked about choosing, and choosing is a very powerful word here, because I chose to come to the Negev. I came with a group a lot of years ago when I was a soldier. I came with a group with my wife to settle the Negev. It's for another kibbutz, not in Kfar Aza, kibbutz Cholit, it's south. And then we moved to Kfar Aza, and my children were born, all of them were born there. Two of them are like twins, a daughter and a boy, are Shani's age, and they grew up together. And one of them is bigger, is 28. And I chose to come to Kfar Aza, and I want to tell you that you have to choose almost every day to live in Kfar Aza, because of what Imri said. And there are times that it's really heaven, but times that it's awful. It's hard to raise children. It's like you are sending your son to play outside, and suddenly alarms and missiles, and you don't know what's happening to him, and then he comes back. And I have to say that sometimes, like if 20 years ago, we decided to go out of Kfar Aza because of this. And afterwards, I chose to come back. And when I chose to come back, it's my home, and I'm choosing to live here. I didn't expect what happened on the 7th of October, but it's not like I blame no one. If you choose to live by a volcano, what do you expect? So things happened. And on the 7th of October, I was in my house with my wife, Edith, and my son, Shachar. He came for the holiday. My two daughters were outside the kibbutz. One of them is living in the kibbutz, and one of them is a student in Tel Aviv. And I woke up like a quarter past 6. I was planning to get out and run in the fields. That's what I do every Saturday. And suddenly there were alarms, and it's like usual. Alarms, you get in the safe room, you wait for like some 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then you go out, and everything continues like the same. But this morning it was different. The alarms were going on, and a lot of bombs. And then we realized something else is happening, because we heard shooting outside, something we haven't heard so close before, and we understood it's another thing. And then we just closed. We got a message to close ourselves in the safe room, and we closed ourselves, the three of us, in the safe room, and we didn't take nothing, because you just get in and get out. So we didn't have water, we didn't have food, nothing. Okay, and we were sitting there, and after 1 hour or something like this, half an hour, we understood. We heard more and more sounds of shooting and shouting in Arabic that were closer to us. So we closed the lights, we closed everything, and we were sitting on the floor, hoping nothing will happen, and started to get messages on the phone that people are being injured and killed. And we understood it's something else. We understood we are in a different situation, and we have to like be quiet, get into ourselves, and wait. So we were sitting on the floor close to each other and waiting. At about 10:30, we heard shouting in Arabic around our house. And you know, in a kibbutz, two houses are close together. So we heard shooting on the other house. They were getting in and shooting there. Afterwards, we realized that our neighbor was killed. They shot him in his house, and so you understand, it's coming to you. And afterwards, we heard them breaking into our house and coming, and they were coming to our safe room. And now it's a hard moment because you think to yourself, okay, that's my last moment. I'm gonna die. And we were sitting there, me, Edith, my wife, and my son Shahar, and holding hands, and like, I don't know, it's not in the stories. You don't think, okay, all your life is going through or something like this, just fear, a great fear. And they tried to open the door, and we heard them on the handle, but it didn't open. And to tell you the truth, I don't know why. Because we didn't hold the door. You probably heard stories of people that hold the handle and like struggle with them. We didn't, because I thought if you can lock it from inside. So I thought it's locked, but it wasn't. It's not true. You can open it from outside. But they did like try to open. They didn't, and they went away. Like, but they didn't go out of the house. They stayed inside. They were using our house as a place to shoot people for outside, for the army. And so, like about 10 hours, they were in my house. They tried. Sometimes afterwards, they tried again to open the door, but they didn't. I don't know why. God, you can choose whatever you want. I don't deal with it. You know, I'm alive. It's okay. I don't go back to, you know, people has to have an explanation. Why am I here? But I don't look for it. And this moment that we were sitting there and hoping they won't be able to open the door, it's like a feeling and a feeling of helplessness. Okay. And it's a thing that I'm not used to, because I'm used to help other people. I'm used to like people call me and in a situation like this, and I help them, I come to them, but now I can't do nothing, and it's like a bad feeling for me, and this feeling I carry with me till now, because I couldn't help people. Maybe I didn't do what I should do, and it's hard for me to deal with this feeling. And afterwards, we all the time heard them shouting in Arabic around our house. We have a film. Uh, we didn't succeed to see it, but there's a film that they took where they come to my house. You can see it. You can see them around my house with guns. So, you know, maybe I was imagining, but not. They were there. I saw. You can see my house. You can see my fans and everything. And so it was like helplessness. And as we go, like the whole story is in between helplessness and hope. And the hope came like 2 or 3 hours later. We were speaking with my daughter, one of my daughter. She's an officer in the army, and she knew people outside, and that's how it works there, because the army wasn't like arranged. Many people came and tried to save and try to get into houses and save people, but it wasn't like an arranged situation that the army came. And she was my daughter Eden, the small one. she was talking with people in the army, and she said she told them, go and take my parents out of there and my brother. I want you to do it. And she told us, don't worry, I will save you. And you know, at this situation, it's like, wow, she will save me. And Shani knows Eden, and Eden, when she says something, it's happening. So, okay, it will happen. And since this moment, I had a feeling that I'm going to get out alive from there, and it like took me up, and we were waiting there, and we heard them all the time in our house, and shooting and battles all around, and it's like a war, and it sounds like a movie. Okay, it's like sounds like a movie to me also, not only to you. It's not real. And when I hear myself or hear other people speak about it, so I think sometimes I think it couldn't be happening. Like it's not true. It's so like not real. So it's hard for me to understand this. Um, as time went by, it went a little bit quieter. We still heard them on all around, and you understand that you are in their hands. They can come every minute, get inside and kill you, and it's frightening. And at around 12 o'clock, something like this, Eden writes to us. We were writing, not speaking, because we try to be quiet so they won't notice that we are there. No electricity, no water, nothing. Remember, for so long time. And she wrote us, someone is coming to take you out. And we were like waiting, and it took 2 hours more, and no one came. And we asked her all the time, what's happening? And she said, they can't come because a lot of battles, and they can't reach you. And so after like 2 hours, she said, okay, they are coming. Half hour later, someone gets into the house and gets to the door and say, Tzahal, IDF. Okay, but they told us not to open immediately because the terrorists spoke Hebrew, and they told us maybe they are trying to make us open the door. So we tried to ask them, who are you, like this, the name of the unit or something like this, and they didn't hear us, and they went away. Okay, so we like this to be saved, and again, and it was panic. Like we got into panic, and it's good that Shachar, my son, was with us because he was the coma one, younger but coma, and he says, okay, I will deal with it. And he wrote Eden. Eden, they went away, and she said, don't worry, I will send them back. Think about it. How come? And she sent them back. She was speaking with them. And after 15 minutes, they came back, and she said, open the door, it's them, it's okay. And they came back, we opened the door, and it was a feeling like, my mother is a Holocaust survivor. And she told us what happened to her. And as the UN forces came and released the camp, she was like in a concentration camp. And the feeling that she described was like the feeling I felt this moment. Like I see the soldiers, wow, I'm alive, and they came to take me out. And they told us, you have 2 minutes, take something and go away. We are like taking you, not go away. It was to understand. 3 days afterwards, still there were terrorists in the kibbutz. So we went out under like shooting and fighting all around. So it was dangerous. So I went to my room, and it was a mess. Like everything was upside down, and I was barefoot because I was planning to go to run, and I didn't get to wear my shoes, and I didn't find nothing. So okay, I went barefoot outside, and when you get outside, soldiers escort you, 3 of us, all the way, and it's like an apocalyptic site. Apocalyptic, like in movies. Everything is destroyed. Everything, cars, and bodies on the ground, and wow. I don't want, and I can't like describe everything. But you go around, and they were taking us by foot to the gas station on the junction, and it was like, okay, we are alive. And from there we went to Herzliya.
Thank you. During that day, many WhatsApp chats were active. One of the WhatsApp chats that was active was the young generation chat. The young adult neighborhood of Kfar Aza is right by the border, and when the terrorists crossed the border, that was the first neighborhood they came to. There were many assumptions made, thinking maybe because they were younger, maybe because many soldiers were there. Most of them were 18 to 35 years old. They were all single with a girlfriend or a boyfriend in their tiny apartment, and that was one of the neighborhoods in Kfar Aza that was hurt the most. Shani is one of the young adults resident, and if you could share with us where were you that day and how did you went through the day?
Okay, so before I start with my story, I want to tell you about this neighborhood. It's called Dor Tzair. It's in English. It's a young generation. Kibbutz. It's like a big family, big one family. And this neighborhood, it's very special for us because when we finish school, we are waiting for move there because we are go out from our house and we go to live by alone basically. And it's very special because we are feel family there, that we are not even knock on the door, we just open the doors and we make a lot of fun together. We are make a lot of karaoke nights and barbecue nights, and it's far away from the kibbutz. It's in the kibbutz, but far away. So we had a lot of fun, and no one can hear us. And no matter which hours I'm sit in my apartment, someone came and we sit a lot of hours and we spend a lot of time together. And after I told you about this neighborhood, I tell you my story. So my miracle was that I didn't been there because the holidays I fall asleep in my parents' apartment in the kibbutz, another area. And you can imagine what happened to me if I stay there over there, because most of the people there, they killed. And we have 4 people from this neighborhood, they are still hostages in Gaza. So I don't really know what happened to me if I stay over there this night. But my story is that in 6:30 a.m., like everyone here, I wake up because I heard the alarm, the Tzeva Adom. And at the first thing, I think to myself that, okay, it's normal. We have it sometimes. But first, I feel that something wrong. It's not gonna be the same because I start to hear the shooting and the fire gun. So I was panicked and I told to my parents to do something because I feel that it's not okay. Something is not okay. So we have a lot of doors in my home. So they knock it and we go to the safe room. And because they came very, very ready to this attack, and they have a map, They knew how many people in this house. They knew how many dogs in this another's house. They know how many cats we have. They knew everything about the kibbutz, and they knew where is the shelter of the electricity, and they knew where is the generator. So they took them off. So in 8 a.m. in the morning of the 7th of October, we didn't have electricity, we didn't have hair, we didn't have nothing. And it was very, very hard for me because I was very, very scared. We didn't know nothing. We don't have TV to watch the news, and we only have the WhatsApp groups. And immediately they start to send message to help them in the young generation groups, and they start to send, help us, they shooting me, they fire my apartment, please send someone. And it was very hard because I can't do nothing. I'm in my parents apartment, and their neighborhood is not okay also. So I really freaking out. And the first person that sent about his murder is live next to my parents' house. So my mom started to cry, and I was very, very panicked that the terrorists found us because they was all over the kibbutz. So I start to scream on her, but quietly, like, "Stop, mom! It's not. No, it's rumor. It's nothing. They hear us. Be quiet." And now I feel bad about it because it was real, and is murder. And I think I have to be more empathy to my mom, but we can change the past. And around 4 p.m. afternoon, we are still in the safe room, and we don't have electricity, we don't have hair, we don't have food, we don't have nothing. And we hear them open our doors in my parents' home, and they start to scream, Jewish, Jewish, in Hebrew. And we was very, very quiet. And because we have a lot of doors in my parents' house, and the safe room is hide, they didn't get to our safe room. So this is the second miracle that we get in this day. But after a half hour, more and less, they came to our roof, and they start to shoot from our roof. And we was very, very panicked because we was afraid that they're gonna hear us. And we can't even breathe because we was afraid that even if we do like this, they're gonna hear because they was in our roof. So we don't have electricity, we don't have a hair, and now we can't breathe. It was very stressful. And they've been like this something like 12 hours. And in this time, they start to burn our neighborhood, the houses around my parents' home. And it was the middle of the night in this point, and I get a panic attack, and I passed off. So my mom, and we don't have hair, we don't have like food, water, nothing. So my mom, she took my leg like up, and my father, he do for me like this to make hair because we don't have some hair in the safe room. And this thing, I didn't know about it. I didn't realize that it's happened to me. My parents tell me about it something like 3 months after the events happened. And the hours passed and nothing happened and no one came to save us. And it's the something like 6 a.m. of Sunday. And I think to myself, it's so hot and I can't breathe. And I think about my parents; they're not so young. So what's happened? What we gonna do? I feel very very uh, useless, and it was very hard. And we don't have even a battery on the cell phone. We get only my father's cell phone, and we have a 30% of battery. And my father hear something like mini tank, and he just opened the door and ran out. And me and my mom was like this, what? We don't know if he's gonna go back, if the terrorists they waiting for him outside, they start to shooting him. We was like, we was in panic. And then we hear the IDF, they scream on him, what are you doing? Go back inside. And then my father told them, no, my wife and my daughter is inside, and you need to send someone to help us. We can't move it anymore. And then they told them, okay, we send someone. And something like 14 minutes after, they came, and we go to the mini tank. But even in this time, the shooting, they didn't stop. All these 13 hours, 13 hours, they didn't stop. And we hear like this on the windows, the shooting, they try to shooting us. And because of this, we can't go out from the kibbutz, so they make a U-turn, and they drive more into the kibbutz. And I saw all the houses burned, and I looked to my mom, and I said to her, Mom, what happened to us? It's not gonna be the same right now. And then I saw all the bodies and all the burned cars and the neighborhood. It was very, very, very traumatic. And from then until now, it's not the same, and it's not gonna be the same.
Thank you. If you could tell us where are you at right now, where do you live, and what are your plans for the next few months or year?
Okay. Most of the community now lives in kibbutz Shfaim. It's in the middle of the center of Israel. But the rest of the community is spread around. I live in Shfaim with my family. And as a community, we had a voting, and most of the kibbutz agreed to move to a temporary settlement in kibbutz Ruchama. Ruchama, it's near Kfar Aza in the same council area. So we since October the 7th, of course, we didn't go back home. We lived 6 months. I have 3 children. I didn't mention them. We lived 6 months in a hotel room. It was very, very tough. Thanks God, me and my wife still together. But after that, we moved to a tiny caravan in Shfaim, and in a month from now, we're planning to move to Ruchama. And of course, since the October 7th, we don't have a job, we don't have a work, because all my business is down south near Kfar Aza. My wife's job is as well in this area. So we need to invented ourselves from scratch. So we built up, I built up a workshop in Shfaim for the community, that people can come and work with carpentry or wood, pottery, and kind of craft, and just to forget of the trauma. So during the day, I continued to work there for my business. Of course, my business didn't. It's not full-time job at all, but I'm trying. And for me, it's the best psychologic to work with my hand. And for other people, it's make a small recovery. Because every day since then, you can find yourself in very different situation. Every day is very intensive. You can start very a good day, and then it can be very down because you need to struggle. Like before the Yom HaZikaron, Remember Day, and now before the 7th October Day, so things are starting to be very intensive for us. And for me, when trying to get on the optimistic side of life, to every day to wake up with hope that we can do, we will rise from dirt and we continue when we build ourselves and we rebuild our community and we rebuild Kfar Aza. So that's for us.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Where are you at right now? Where do you live? And what are your future plans in the nearer future?
Okay. So, because I'm working in the kibbutz and I need to be there every day, I moved to the south of Israel, to Lehavim, which is next to Be'er Sheva, and it's half an hour from the kibbutz. Some of families of the kibbutz are living there, and good friends of mine are also there, so it's really a nice place for me now. My great wish, is to come back to live in the kibbutz without going through Ruchama, but to go straight home. The house is not in a situation I can go there. It need to be fixed a little bit, and because I had terrorists in the house, I decided to throw all my furniture away. I didn't know who was sitting on them, who was eating there, so I just throw everything away. A new born, a new start. I hope within, I don't know, the next 4 months, I will be able to go back and live in the kibbutz.
We speak about hope. So remember, I was going out barefoot from my house. So after 3 days, my friend called me and I say, "You need something?" And I say, "No, it's okay." And he says, "No, I want to bring you something." So I said, "Yes, I need running shoes, but I don't run like a simple one. You have to pay a lot of it to buy shoes that will suit me." And he said, "Okay, I will buy it." And after 2 days, he bring me the running shoes, and I start to run again. And that's my first therapy, and it works till today. Today I run in the forest park, so it works. The other thing is getting back to work. Like, I'm a social worker. It's hard for me to take care of other people. I have to heal myself. And it took me I didn't heal myself yet, but it took me about 1.5 months. I was not working at all. And then I said, okay, I can't stay like this. I called my boss and told her I want to come back to work, but slowly. And she says, no, slowly. It's either if you get in, it's not that she didn't want me to come. If you get in, you have to know. It's like all in. Because the situation, I work with people in Sha'ar HaNegev. So I said, okay. And I went back to work. And that make me like feeling alive again. I'm helping other people. I'm with the staff, and it's my belonging. So it's it's very good. And another thing, like a thing that emphasize life. My daughter is getting married next month. Thank you. And it's life. It's the beginning of life. It's continuing living, and it's happy, and we are happy with it. And I think the thing is in between, as I said before, in between helplessness and hope, and you have to choose. Remember the word to choose, and we choose, every one of us here. We choose to live. We choose to continue. We choose to do things in Kfar Aza, in the community, all the community. So so we are on our way.
Okay, for me it's a little bit hard. Now basically I live in Ashkelon. It's in the south, and I'm a kindergarten teacher for special needs, and it's very hard for me because I try to move on, but my best friend is still in Gaza, so I try to combine the things because in the garden I need to be happy and be strong for the kids, but in the another hand, we do a lot of activities to bring our friends home. So I try to heal, but I really can't do it without bring them back. So it's a big process for me, and I still try to deal with all these things. But we are hope, and we have the tikva. So yeah.
So, as you understand, there's a long way ahead of us. The community, the majority of the community is now in Kibbutz Shfaim. Others are scattered basically all over. And the plan is, as Imri described, is to move to Ruchama. Ruchama is a kibbutz who had these territories that is now going to occupy the community of Kfar Aza. We had to rebuild this area so the community will be able to spend at least 2 years in this caravan trailer and feel like this is a decent home to be in. The management of the kibbutz is basically identified 5 major needs that's gonna stay with us for quite a while. The first one is obviously education, mostly non-formal education. So the kids will be able to connect with the community, to spend their after school time within the community. The second one is the welfare of the community. It was a decision, regardless of what the government give the residents of the kibbutz, the community is obligated to support whomever in need. There are many who lost their jobs or still struggling getting back to a normal life, and the community decided to support them during that time as much as they could. Commemoration is another issue that that is obviously present when 62 community members were murdered. 2 were kidnapped, managed to release themselves, and were misidentified by the IDF and were shot. So the healing process of the community also involves the ability to respect the families, respect the members of the community, and find a way to remember them. The fourth need is obviously the mental health treatments and structure to support the community. And the fifth is the welfare, the communal life. As you can guess, kibbutz is a group of people that comes together, and it's all about the community, about being together, about creating memories together. And while the community is scattered all over, it's much of a challenge. And now by moving to Ruchama and have this, hopefully 2 years still, it will be possible to return to Kfar Aza. The goal is to recreate this communal life. Part of what we do, as well as fundraising, is to connect with communities abroad so we can stand together in this time. On a personal note, for me, this is our litmus test as a society, as a nation, to rebuild and restore. This is part of our values, of our hopes for the future. And the ability to do that is to rebuild Kfar Aza, the community and the physical aspect of it. So this is our hope. We want this to be a story of hope, a story of with a happy ending, and we definitely look forward for the good things to come. So thank you for being here with us tonight, and we're gonna open the floor.
So, first, I want to thank all of you. I can't imagine how difficult it is for you to tell that story.
You are our inspiration. You spoke about choice. You choose to rebuild the state, and we choose to stand with you. If this evening is about choice,
It's also about hope for the future. So, what I'd like to suggest is that we conclude this piece of the program with the singing of Hatikva. But then, what I'm hoping is our guests are very excited to witness Selichot. So, I hope that many of you will choose to stay so that we can transition to the Selichot service. But first, let's all stand and sing Hatikva together. Shavua Tov. Those of you who would like to stay, I'll invite you. We'll pass out the Sidurim, and I'll invite you to be seated. And if you need to leave, of course, we do understand.